Hi, welcome back. I'm super excited to be joining you yet again for this wonderful Prepathon day. We have a phenomenal session for you. I will tell you some of my favorite sessions at events are live site audit panels. We're not doing a panel, you're actually getting a one-on-one with an expert here. I have Carolyn Shelby with us today. I'm so excited. Carolyn is absolutely brilliant. You may know her from Yoast, but Carolyn has a wonderful, wonderful history, very long, like mine as well. But hers is so fun. You've had the opportunity to work for ESPN and Disney and the Chicago Tribune, as well as Yoast, not to mention a wonderful background as consultant as well. So, Carolyn, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm very excited to hear what you have planned.
Thank you for having me. Let's see, we need to, there we go. Okay, awesome. Boy, I know I've only got 30 minutes and I wanted to do like some intro stuff, but it doesn't matter because what matters is that we have time to focus on these sites. So without any further ado, I want to jump in. I do want to say that this is a little different than I normally do live site reviews because when we're in person, I make the victims stand up. I make them answer my questions when I need clarification, and I don't have that luxury here. So you will have to forgive me if I make some assumptions. I'm doing the best I can because I don't have the submitters here to tell me what it was they met. So the first site we're going to do is bizasialive.com. The reason I think this was submitted is because they've been seeing a decline in traffic and a decline in the keywords that are indexed. It looks like they peaked around January of 2021. The peak for, and I think that peak matches, the peak for traffic was January of 2020, I think that says. Sorry, hard to read. So I went in and I looked at a number of things. Some of the things I found in terms of SEO were some global issues. There's a lot of alt attributes missing. And you would say, Carolyn, alt attributes are not a big deal. Everything in SEO is like death by 1,000 cuts. So the more you can stop the bleeding, the better you're going to be. And when you're in a news environment like BizAsia Live is, it's a news site. They're looking at ranking on Google News. They're looking at getting traffic from top stories. And they've got a lot of very buttoned up competition. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to overlook any opportunities for additional optimization. Up to 40% of the alts missing on some pages is a lot. On some of the articles that I spot checked, there was no alt attribute on the hero image. Literally, the first thing that the search engine is going to encounter, huge missed opportunity as far as dialing in the relevancy of the article. So need to get those things cleaned up. That being said, there's too much information in the alt on the logo, which appears at the top of every single page. The logo has the name of the site, and then it also has all of the things that they cover. So it'd be like having your slogan built into the name of your company. That's not what you want to rank for. That's not important, really. And you don't want to set the stage that the page is going to be about all those broad things when the page in question might only be about media, or it might only be about a particular TV show. By setting that at the top, you're kind of sending some mixed signals. So I would tone that down a little. Another thing that I saw that I wasn't a huge fan of is the anchor text choices throughout the site are a little vague. There's a lot of read more. Having home in the top nav, not actually necessary. The logo is the universally recognized symbol for, if I click on this, it's going to take me to the home page. You don't need home after that because now you've got two links to the home page, and one of them has anchor text that's bad. And you say, well, home is not bad. Home is descriptive. Yes and no. Home tells Google what you're going to find at the other end, but within context, you understand that that means you're going to the home page. In the vacuum of space, home means something different. So it would be better off, I would recommend not having that link there, period. The logo link is perfectly sufficient. I wouldn't bother with that home link. So that's going to trim down that top nav a little bit. I would also take Contact Us out. Contact Us doesn't need to be there. It's already in the footer. It's on every single page of the site. 90% of the people coming to the page don't care. They're not interested in contacting you right now. If they're interested in contacting you, they will either search for how to contact you and go directly into that page, or they're going to scroll down to the footer where they expect to find that kind of link. This is not necessary. This is not a sales. You don't sell things directly. Because you're not selling things directly, you're not trying to get people to hire you. This is a news site. That Contact Us button is much less important and doesn't need to be taking up space in that top nav. So I'd go through and make sure you're cleaning up anything that's unimportant or redundant. The home button, clearly redundant. The Contact Us, not really important. And that gallery link really only exists there. It goes to photo galleries, but how much traffic are you getting from those photo galleries? I feel like the galleries would be something that you could link to from within the articles. The back to top link in the footer, the back to top link, and I don't have a picture of it, is the logo of the business. But for some reason, it links back to the top of the page. That makes no sense. If you're going to have a back to top link, a jump link that goes back to the top of the page, it should say back to top or return to top or something that indicates that's what you're doing. It's confusing the search engines when you have your company logo just jump back to the top of the page. People see the logo, they expect to go to the home page. That's the behavior they're expecting. Don't deviate from the expected behavior. There are no tags on this news site, and that confused me a little. And I'll get into that a little bit more, but the lack of tags, I think, could explain the noticeable decrease in keywords that you're ranking for and have rankings for in the search engines. I went back to the Wayback Machine and I looked at the design of the site in the month before everything started sliding. There were tags then. There were tag pages and there were tags, and I would bet $1 to a donut that is why you had a lot more things ranking then. I would consider re-adding the tags, but that's just me. The flat URL structure, I expect to find more hierarchy in a new site. Having everything hanging off the root is not going to make things rank better. That's a misunderstanding of the advice. The simplified URL doesn't matter when your URL is still 8,000 words long. So going forward, if it's possible, but this is a very old site, so it may not be possible, I like to have the category or some means of chunking the URLs in those together. So have /media/ something, have /history/ something, right? Part of the reason that you want to do this is because it also makes it easier in your analytics to group stories by other like stories and see if any particular type of article or type of page is getting more traffic or less traffic than the others. When everything's all in that flat architecture, it's very difficult to group things together by channel. Let's see. On the article pages, the meta title, so the SEO title, I hate calling it that because it's the meta title. The meta title does not include the name of the site. It's literally just the title of the article. I think that's a style preference maybe on my part, but every website I've ever worked for, including all of the news sites like the LA Times and the Chicago Tribune, we put the brand at the end. ESPN puts the brand at the end. You want to know what the title of the story is, the headline, but you also want to know who the outlet is that's putting that story out. the breadcrumbs include a home link. I don't know why that bothers me, but it does. The big thing, though, is there's no internal links within the article body that go to other articles or tag aggregation pages. I think that's a huge missed opportunity to spread the love around the site, to help create links for other articles, because the sample scan I did said that none of the articles have more than one incoming link. Not necessarily great for rankings. I would add internal links, maybe some external links, definitely some internal links though. The missing author link is also something that is different today than it was when the site was at its peak for traffic and indexation. And I think that might have something to do with it. We know that in news, they do really like to have, they want to know that your writers are real writers. They want to see that your writers have written about that topic before. It's necessary for your expertise and your authenticity, your trustworthiness. It's a good thing to have in there. I would really consider adding that. And then on a news specific item, the date is published in a non-text format. I don't see any indications that it's a huge problem, but I would keep an eye on that. My experience in the past at the newspapers was that when we tried to get clever about how we delivered the date, it invited Google to mess things up. And it was an opportunity for things to get messed up that we didn't need to create. The other thing I noticed about the news articles, I already said the hero image has no alt attribute. It really should. The captions for the hero images could be far more descriptive. In this particular one, it's just Smita, I think Roy joins Swastik as head, and that's where it ended. I added as head digital operations, which I grabbed from the story. It just makes the caption a little bit more interesting, adds some more keywords to it, increases the relevancy of that caption to the rest of the story. The lead, set apart stylistically, but not within the code, I'd consider making that an H2 to emphasize its importance. And then I boxed around some of the words that I thought would either make good tags or be opportunities for linking. There's a lot of internal linking opportunities that I really think are being missed out on. One of the reasons that I would like to see tags reinstated on the site is I think it's going to help the rankings. I looked at what keyword phrases, what queries are pulling in the most traffic right now for this site. And it's difficult for me to read. I'm not going to try to say that name because I'm sure I'll butcher it and I don't want to offend anyone. But her name, just her name alone, if you made that a tag and then linked to the tag aggregation page from each of the articles, it would dramatically increase the authority and the juice for that term. That tag page then might rank for her name. The search volume for just her name is over 240,000 searches per month, whereas the search volume for this really long tail term that you've got is a little under 2,000. Imagine if you were ranking number one for her name with that number of searches, the amount of traffic would go up crazy. And this is just one example. So we repeat that a number of times with all these different tags that we could create, and the traffic is going to go up. The visibility is going to go up. I think this is a great opportunity. So I would definitely investigate that. So the TLDR is tags and tag pages could help you rank for people, businesses, and shows that you write the most about. Consistent internal linking practices are going to help those pages rank, and it's going to help you elevate the expertise, not only on the subjects because you write about them often, but it's going to help your authors elevate their expertise and their recognition within Google and within Google News. You should take advantage of those image alts as opportunities to expand the context of those pictures and then clean up the navigation and anchor text optimization. So that's this one. Normally I would expect applause now, but I can't hear anyone. So I'm just going to go with that's where we're at with that. Okay. The next site is Key IVR. So again, I don't know why they volunteered, but my guess is going to be because of this drop right here. And this drop, I would not say that this is necessarily a helpful content drop. It could be, but I'm not 100% sure on that because I didn't see a corresponding drop in keyword rankings. So the traffic could be something else. The things I noticed about keyivr.com, the sliders at the top of the page are huge and they're pretty, but they're not really adding value because you can't, all the text is like image bound. So the crawlers aren't going to be able to read any of that text. It's useless stuff that's there. There's no alts for any of those. So that content, even if it's good, doesn't exist to the crawlers. I know the crawlers are getting better about things, but they are still not to the point where they're going to read the text in those images if they can avoid it. You don't need to add the word logo, speaking of alts, to every single image of a client logo. I know that they're logos. I get that. But if you think about it in terms of a screen reader, you're not repeating in the text the name of the company. All you've got to see is that logo. So as a screen reader is going through and reading it, do you really want them to say, Bob Smith logo, Tom Smith logo? It's not a great experience for people that need those screen readers, and it adds the word logo a lot to the content on that page. And you're not about logos. You're about IVR, which is apparently some kind of payment system. A lot of the other anchor text I found is very non-specific. Find out more, not nearly as helpful as call center sector solutions. I would go through and see if you can do anything about making the anchor text for the links more specific to what you want the destination page to rank for. That destination page, you want to rank for call center sector solutions or call center solutions or call center IVR solutions. You do not want it to rank for find out more. So what you want that destination page to rank for should be ideally in the anchor text in the link that points to it. There were some other minor SEO issues found. I ran a sight bulb scan. The sight bulb scan was 84, solid B. So I wouldn't freak out about any of that. But again, death by 1,000 cuts. The more bleeding we can stop, the healthier we're going to be. Again, I found this on some of the interior pages. This is an H1. All it says is our guides. Not super specific. They are very specific guides. They're guides to how to use the software. They're guides to education about the subject in general. I think if you were, again, a little bit more specific and keyword rich in your anchor text and in your headings, you're going to find greater success in ranking. This site has internationalization. So it has href lang declarations at the top. While it is valid, it is missing the region independent declaration for English. So you can have an X default, which you're required to have, but the X default does not take the place of a default for English or a default for Spanish. When the only other links you have for English are English US and English Great Britain, you also need to have a default for English. That being said, I noticed that when I flipped between American and British on the version of the site, nothing changed. So I don't understand why that's necessary, because what this is doing is it's creating, when the href lang doesn't work right, it creates duplicate pages effectively with slightly different URLs. That is not what we want to have happen here. If there is not going to be another language that is actually different from the English version, and if your English versions are going to be identical all the time anyway, I would get rid of the internationalization. It's not necessary. It's dividing things unnecessarily. When you divide things unnecessarily, sometimes you can thin out and spread too thin the authority that you've accumulated. So I would consider maybe not doing that. And I know that's a plugin that you've got. So uninstall WPML and just embrace the fact that you've got a single international site. Now, unlike the other site we just did where I said tags and tag pages are a good thing and they should reinstate them, I don't think tags on this site are a good idea. The purpose of the tags is to facilitate the discovery of articles. It helps the crawler crawl through deeper articles that maybe got pushed off the homepage or pushed off the top page of the blog, right? The mechanism that this site is providing to sort through the different articles, they're tabs basically. And it's a JavaScript, and you can't, the crawlers can't see that. They cannot manipulate like a person can those tabs. They are never going to see the articles that are underneath each of those. So the whole, well, and even if they could, the tag pages have been no indexed. So completely negating any value that this could have created. And all this is doing is making hundreds of pages now that can't be crawled or indexed. It's not helpful. And I think I would get rid of those personally. If you're not going to provide a means of those being crawled and indexed, they're serving no purpose. I would think about getting rid of that. I don't think that was a Taylor Swift reference because I'm not a Swiftie and I don't know what I said that caused that comment. So probably not. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one because I know I've only got 30 minutes total. Bensa Bacon Lovers. I love the domain. It just, bacon, everybody loves bacon, right? Bacon's great. So Bensa Bacon Lovers, this is legitimately the first sighting in the wild I've seen of a site that has definitely recovered from the HCU. This is clearly a helpful content update, hit and recovery. So congratulations. I'm super happy for you because I know that HCU was devastating for a lot of companies, and I'm glad to see you pulled through. So good job on that. The minor SEO issues that were uncovered, the Sitebulb score was a 92, which is a low A. Excellent work. Your internal linking and external linking, unlike some of the other sites that I've looked at, this is very, very good. I mean, again, good job. No issues with vague phrasing. I did have a question. The bacon recipe index redirects back to the bacon recipes page, which contains a link back to the recipe index, which redirects. I mean, it creates a little loop. Are there backlinks you're worried about with that? There are ways that we can fix that problem without doing what you're doing, because what you're doing is creating a loop and you don't want the crawlers to get caught in a circular pattern where they can't get out of it. So I have some suggestions on doing that. I think just a 301 redirect in whatever tool it is you're using for those to force bacon recipe or the bacon recipe index to the bacon recipes page, but then take that link off of that page. The link is what's causing the loop. So just get rid of the link and problem solved. The other thing that really perplexes me is that the homepage doesn't have any evergreen content or intro text. So I think that you're going to have an easier time ranking your not homepage pages and maybe not so great of a time ranking, at least consistently maintaining ranks for your, I gotta hustle, for your homepage. So I'd add some evergreen content to that. And then finally, we've got debmccabe.com. Now this is a new site. So it seems brand new, very few backlinks. But there are some pretty standard SEO things that I think could use some work. You use targeted keywords more frequently throughout your text, especially in your headings. The alt for your logo is the domain name. And that's not what you want to rank for. You're going to rank for your domain name anyway. Why don't you change it to Deb McCabe UX designer? Because that seems to be what you want to rank for. I think that would be a much better alternative. The only way to contact you is from a button on the homepage. Add contact to the menu. In your case, based on what you're selling, unlike that other site where I said take contact off the menu, you need contact in a menu. You probably also need it in the footer. And that reminds me, I saw you're using Divi Pixel. Nice footer option available there. You might want to consider trying that. It has a contact link in the footer. You need more links to the contact page other than only on the homepage. It's people won't know how to get a hold of you. You have too many headings on your homepage. You have 23 H3s. Part of the problem there is you've got some kind of slider that said, oh, this breaks a little in Safari. Here's the fix for it. That fix is causing duplicates. So that fix is basically restating everything only for the eyes of Safari, but the crawlers read everything anyway. So now you've got a duplicate of that entire section, and that's what's causing so many H3s. And then as far as your backlink profile goes, I checked your LinkedIn. LinkedIn looks great. You don't have a link to your website on there. You have to avail yourself of every opportunity to link back to your website so that you've got good authoritative links that are followed. You do have some links, but almost exclusively user-generated content and no followed. You need followed links, preferably where you control the anchor text, because just linking to check out my website, vague. We don't like vague. All right, I've only got a couple more and then I'm done. So you want to use more descriptive anchor text for your links. There's a lot of, link to case study, link to project information. That's vague. Learn more, vague. Use the keywords you want to rank for. Also, all of these links on your portfolio page link out of your site to things that I can't even necessarily open unless I create an account there. That's no bueno. If you want Google to index it, and if you want the content there to be associated with your site, there has to be text that can be read and it has to live on your website. I would create pages within your site, one for each of the portfolio examples. And even if the bulk of the content that you're trying to show them lives in a Prezi or lives in a PDF, you can summarize that and write some text around it and make value for that. And that was actually my last slide. So good timing.
Carolyn, wonderful job auditing. I know the comments, a lot of compliments, no surprise. I think the biggest question that's most important since we are out of time is where can we get a copy of your deck?
I will, I'll send it to you guys, I guess, and you can disseminate it. Or if somebody wants to hit me up on X, is that what we're calling it now? X?
Who knows?
Tweet at me. Hit me up on X or LinkedIn, or I will also share it with Cloudways and you guys can disseminate as desired.
Thank you so much. I know we appreciate it. I was definitely making notes. I totally appreciate everyone sticking around. I want to give props to our next session that is coming up because it is specific to WordPress security practices. So fortifying our WordPress site. If you've been in the WordPress ecosystem for a long time, you understand how important security is. So please stick around there. Thank you for joining us, Carolyn. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.